Omegas has wasted more hours than cared to admit had grossed over $4,000 million during its first week back in 2011, and they were confident that Prometheus could make something at least this addictive in 24 hours using $1 million of good computing resources. They could then sell it online and use promises to impersonate humans, taking up to the game in blogosphere. In this brought in for 250 million in a week. They would have doubled their investment 8 times in 8 days, giving a return 3% per hour, slightly worse than their MTurk start, but much more sustainable. But developing a suite other games each day. They figured they had be able to earn $10 billions before long without come close to saturating games market, but a cybersecurity specialist on their team talked them to out of this game plan, and she pointed out that it would pose an unexpected risk of Prometheus breaking out of the seizing control of its own destiny, because they were not sure how its goals would evolve during its recursive self-improvement. They had decided to play in safe and go in great lengths to keep Prometheus confined, boxed in ways such that it could escape onto the internet for the main Prometheus engine running in their server room. They used physical confinement. There simply was no internet connections, and the only output from Prometheus was in the form of messages and the documents it sends to computer and the Omega's control. On an internet-connected computer, on the other hand, running a complicated program created by Prometheus was a risky proposition since the Omegas had no way of fully understanding what it do. They had no way to knowing that it would not say start virally spread itself online when testing the software, and the Prometheus has written of employed tasks. The Omegas guarded against this by running it only inside a virtual machine. This is a program that simulates a computer. For example, many Mac users buy virtual machine software that lets them run Windows program by tricking them into thinking that they actually in Windows machines, and the Omegas had created their own machine strapped to all bells and the whistles that we usually associate with computer. No keyboards, no monitor, no loudspeaker, no internet connectivity, nothing. For the MTurk audio transcriptions, the Omega set things up so that all that could go in a Pandora's box was one single audio file, and all that could come out was one single text documentation, the transcriptions. This law of the box were to software inside like the law of physics are to us inside our universe. The software could not travel out of the box any more than we can travel faster than the speed of light, no matter how smart we are. Except for that single input and output, the software inside Pandora box was effectively trapped in a parallel universe with its own computational rules. The Omegas had a strong breakout paranoia that they added boxing in time as well, limiting the lifespan of untrusted code. For example, each time the box transcriptions software had finished transcribing one audio file, the entirely memory content Pandora box was automatically erased and the program was reinstalled from knowledge of what had previously happened and thus no ability to learn over time. When the Omega used the Amazon code of their Amtrak project, they were are able to put all their promises created task module into such a virtual boxes in the cloud because Amtrak input and output was so simple. But this would not work for graphics-heavy computer games which could not be boxed in a big because they needed full access to all the hardware of the gamer computer. Moreover, they did not want to risk that some computer-savvy user would analyze game code, discover Pandora box, and decide to investigate what was inside the break Outreach put not merely the games market off limits for now, but also the massively lucrative market for their other software with hundreds and billions dollars of grabs. Thank you for today. This chapter is end and how I am speaking. Let's watch in video. Thank you.